The search for love is perhaps humanity's most universal quest. We long for connection, understanding, and acceptance. Yet, many of us struggle to find and maintain meaningful relationships. What if the key to being loved lies not in changing others, but in understanding ourselves? This profound insight comes from one of history's most influential psychologists, Carl Jung, who realized that true love begins with self-knowledge. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. These words from Jung capture the essence of our journey. The path to love isn't about finding the perfect person. It's about becoming whole ourselves. Think about a forest after rainfall. The ground is soft, the air clean, and every leaf glistens with droplets of water. This is what happens when we truly understand ourselves. Our environment becomes clearer, more vibrant, and more alive. But first, we must journey through the dark woods of our own psyche. Jung believed that we all carry what he called a shadow, the parts of ourselves we repress, deny, or hide from the world. These are our insecurities, our shameful desires, our perceived weaknesses. When we refuse to acknowledge these aspects of ourselves, we project them onto others, especially those closest to us. Imagine a man who cannot admit his own vulnerability. He might be drawn to a partner who openly expresses emotion, yet eventually resent this very quality. She's too sensitive, he might complain, when in reality he's uncomfortable with his own unexpressed feelings. This pattern repeats endlessly in relationships until we recognize the shadow within ourselves. A beautiful example of this journey comes from the ancient story of Psyche and Eros. Psyche, a mortal woman, falls in love with Eros, the god of love. But she's forbidden from seeing his face. Driven by curiosity and doubt, she illuminates him with a lamp while he sleeps. Her lack of trust, her inability to love without seeing, causes Eros to flee. Psyche must then undergo a series of seemingly impossible tasks to reunite with her beloved. This myth illustrates how our unconscious fears and doubts can sabotage our relationships, and how the path to love requires facing our deepest challenges. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there's any reaction, both are transformed. Jung understood that relationships aren't just about finding someone who complements us. They're opportunities for growth and transformation. But this transformation cannot happen if we're unwilling to see ourselves clearly. Consider how often we enter relationships hoping to be completed by another person. We expect our partners to fill our emptiness, heal our wounds, and make us whole. Yet Jung warned against this approach. Wholeness is not achieved by cutting off a portion of one's being, but by integration of the contraries. In other words, we cannot find wholeness through another person. We must first integrate all aspects of ourselves, the light and the dark, the masculine and feminine, the conscious and unconscious. This integration is what Jung called individuation, becoming the unique, authentic individuals we were meant to be. There's a powerful scene in the novel The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho that captures this idea. The protagonist, Santiago, spends years searching for a treasure he believes will bring him happiness. After a long journey, he discovers that the treasure was buried near his home all along. The true treasure wasn't gold. It was the wisdom he gained through his journey of self-discovery. Similarly, the capacity to love and be loved has always been within us, waiting to be uncovered. So what does this mean practically? How do we begin this journey of self-understanding? First, we must be willing to look inward with honesty and compassion. Jung advocated for practices like dream analysis, active imagination, and journaling as ways to access our unconscious mind. These tools help us recognize patterns in our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that might otherwise remain hidden. A woman who continually attracts partners who abandon her might discover through self-reflection that she sabotages relationships when they become too intimate because of her own fear of abandonment. By becoming aware of this pattern, she can begin to heal the wounded part of herself that expects and even creates abandonment. Knowledge of the heart must come to us through pain, Jung observed. This doesn't mean we should seek suffering, but rather that our painful experiences contain valuable insights about ourselves if we're willing to examine them. The heartbreaks and disappointments we've experienced in relationships can be our greatest teachers. In Japanese culture, there's a practice called kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold. The repaired piece becomes more beautiful for having been broken. Our emotional wounds, when acknowledged and integrated, make us more whole, more authentic, and paradoxically, more capable of deep connection with others. Jung also emphasized the importance of recognizing projections. When we're strongly attracted to or repelled by someone, it's often because they embody qualities that we possess but haven't acknowledged. By recognizing these projections, we can reclaim these disowned parts of ourselves and relate to others more authentically. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves, Jung said. The person who drives you crazy might be reflecting back aspects of yourself that you've denied or repressed. By understanding this, you can transform conflicts into opportunities for growth. Consider the story of Jean Valjean in Les Misérables. After years of hatred and resentment towards society, he experiences a profound transformation when Bishop Myriel shows him unexpected kindness. This act of love allows Valjean to confront his own capacity for goodness, which he had denied for so long. His journey from hatred to compassion is a powerful illustration of how self-understanding leads to the capacity for love. Jung believed that we all have masculine and feminine aspects within us, regardless of our biological sex. He called these the animus and anima. Part of self-understanding involves recognizing and integrating these complementary energies. A man who has never acknowledged his anima might seek partners who express these qualities for him, rather than developing them within himself. There's a famous Zen story about a university professor who visits a master to learn about Zen. The master serves tea and continues pouring even after the cup is full, causing it to overflow. When the professor points this out, the master replies, "Like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup?" Similarly, we must empty ourselves of preconceptions about who we are and what love should be before we can truly understand ourselves and connect with others. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, Jung wrote. This is not a selfish pursuit. By becoming our authentic selves, we create space for others to do the same. True love doesn't require us to diminish ourselves or perform roles that aren't authentic. It thrives on the genuine expression of who we really are. Remember that self-understanding is not a destination, but a lifelong journey. As we grow and change, new aspects of ourselves emerge, requiring continuous integration and adaptation. The work is never finished, but each step brings us closer to wholeness and the capacity for deeper love. In the end, Jung's message is one of hope. By understanding ourselves, we open the door to being truly understood by others. We create the conditions for love to flourish, not by searching desperately for someone to complete us, but by becoming complete within ourselves. Then, when love does come, it will be between two whole individuals, capable of seeing and accepting each other fully. As the poet Rumi wrote, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it." Perhaps this is what Jung meant when he suggested that no one will love you until you understand this. That the greatest barrier to love is not finding the right person, but becoming the right person. Whole, integrated, and awake to both the light and shadow within yourself. The journey begins with a single question. Who am I beneath all my masks and projections? Answer this with courage and compassion, and you will have taken the first step toward being truly loved, not despite who you are, but because of who you are.